1946. With the whole 6-cylinder in it. Old carburetor. It was converted to have 12 volts and a late model T5 transmission out of a S10 Durango, or I'm sorry, a GMC Durango, basically a S10. Has the rear end out of a 65 Chevrolet, so it's an open drive shaft. The alternator instead of a generator. Dirty inside because it's drove every day practically. And this, let's do a cold start on it. So that's the exhaust manifold. Actually kind of blisteringly cold. It is cold. Everything's cold. Cold, cold, cold. Cold start. Dirty cold start. It's pretty cold, as you can see. Temperature 0. Ta-da! Oh, let's see about this. Aggravate. All right. Try it now. Ready, ready, ready. can't get that with newer vehicles these days. All these cars they're making now, I mean, you go to pick your nose and you're in a ditch. There's absolutely no give in them whatsoever. And the seats, this is straight out of a mattress practically. It's all springs, there's no kind of stiffness in it. It's all cushy. Nice. It's all virtually no back support whatsoever. You really get the feeling that you're either really poor or from the 40s. And driving it, it's a lot different than what it used to be. It used to be folks from they grew up driving this era of vehicle throughout the time and development of the roadways. They refer and reminisce about driving these trucks and these cars from the 40s like they were just speed demons. And they don't take into account that when they were doing 40 miles per hour back in the 50s on that little dirt road, it felt like 80 because they were on a dirt road. And when I got this truck, it had the original 3-speed center shift, or 3 in the floor. And everybody I talked to, I'd tell them how slow it was because 40 miles per hour, this truck was just wound out. I mean, it was as fast as this truck would go at 40. And they said, oh, well, there's something wrong with it. Them trucks were a lot faster than that because it's what was in their mind. They were probably 12 years old when they drove these trucks, and they were on dirt roads out in the middle of the country goofing off. So I put a 5-speed in it, like I said, out of a late model GMC Durango, I think is what it was. And I get about 55 out of it now. And I put the rear end out of a 65 Chevrolet full-size half-ton pickup. So I have an open drive shaft. And it really geared it out to be about right. The bell housing, in order to get it to bolt up correctly, the bell housing came out of I think it was a 54 Chevrolet car, maybe in a 53 Chevrolet car. Basically, Chevrolet, you can build anything out of anything with a Chevrolet because it's all the same stuff. But the clutch disc was a clutch disc out of like a 2000-something model Pontiac Quad 4 because the T5 transmission had a 14-spline input shaft, and so I needed a 14-spline disc, and that's what I got. It all worked out great. I mean, it drives great. The speedometer's terribly wrong right now. We're running about 45, and the RPMs are low. That's one thing everybody said too. Well, you put that rear end and that transmission on the back of that little 6-cylinder, and you're gonna load it up. You know, you'll shake it to death. Well, to be honest, driving with a 3-speed center shift with the same motor and a terribly low-geared rear end, I was winding the motor out. So I got to thinking, well, what's the difference in a 5-speed transmission and a 3-speed transmission? Just basically the fact that one's got 2 more gears. What would stop me in a 5-speed transmission from just shifting up the 3rd gear and running it in 3rd gear if I need to? Well, nothing. So everybody's got this mentality that if you have a 5-speed transmission, you're supposed to run it in 5 gears, you know, in 5th gear. That's really not the case. And one of the great things about it is the fact that it has 5 gears, and so I can put virtually any rear end in it that I want to put in it. And with this one, I don't want to wear the fast. So I got a low geared rear end, but I've got 5-speed transmission. So basically, first gear is very similar to a granny low first gear. And I average about, I want to say about 10 to 12 miles a gallon. I've never really checked it. Now we're on the highway. Keep up with traffic fair. I mean, you don't want to go out where the speed limit is 80 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, and try to get in the fast lane, by no means. But it's proven to be a good truck. Here in Georgia, we've been able to drive it all the way to practically Tennessee, and it's an enjoyment to be able to see the expression on people's faces. Being in the profession that I'm in, that's not always the case until you get off work and you come home and you get in your little truck. It looks like it just got pulled straight out of the woods, and which basically that's what happened. We pulled it straight out of the woods, and really cosmetically haven't done anything to it other than try to find a set of period correct wheels and period correct hubcaps. It's been a real joy. It's been a lot of fun. My wife and I have had a lot of fun in it. So that's the 46 Chevrolet. Let me close this.